Hello, thank you for joining me today on another episode. Today we're going to talk about the VA loan. Usually, when clients call me, or before they're actually clients, they give me a call and they're like, I want to get started shopping for a home. So, the first thing that I do is I refer you to a loan officer. And today I actually have a loan officer who I'm interviewing, and he's going to give us all the ins and outs of the VA loan. I have David Toaf here. And David, if you don't mind, kind of telling our audience a little bit about yourself.
Hi, thanks for joining us today. My name is David Toaf. I'm a residential loan officer with First Home Mortgage, licensed in DC, Maryland, Virginia, and Pennsylvania. I do specialize in VA loans, and I'm excited to tell you all a little bit about it. I've been originating loans for just over 3 years now, and a lot of veterans in the area, so naturally we do a lot of VA loans here.
That's great. Thank you so much, David. And thanks for joining us today. So let me ask you, tell us who is eligible to get a VA loan, David?
In order to originate a VA loan, we do have to have the veteran certificate of eligibility. A veteran might be eligible if they have 90 consecutive days of service during wartime, 191 days of active service during peacetime, over 6 years of service during the National Guard or Reserves, or lastly, if you are the surviving spouse of a service member who died in a line of duty or as a result of a service-connected disability.
Okay, that's great. And it sounds like there's a couple of different ways that you can be eligible, but mainly military or military spouse.
Exactly. And ultimately, we figure it out by getting a veteran certificate of eligibility. That'll show exactly how much VA loan eligibility they have. And it's fairly easy for us to get it offline.
Okay. Do you know about how long it takes to get the certificate of eligibility?
My processor actually pulls them for me. Sometimes it literally can be done in a few minutes. Other times it'll take us 5 to 7 days. So it really depends. However, a lot of times a veteran can just go online to the VA website, and if they have their credentials to log in, they can get it themselves.
Oh, okay. So how soon before someone is ready to start shopping would you recommend they get with you on a VA loan?
I really tell people that there's never too soon. The reason I say that is while we can often do a pre-approval very quickly, I would say about 20% of the credit reports that I pull these days have some surprise on there that a client wasn't aware of, including, VA clients, of course. So, in this day and age with the amount of identity theft and everything else that goes on, you never know if there's something on your report that shouldn't be there. So even if you feel that your credit's pretty good, it's a good idea 3 or 6 months before you want to actively look for a home to have your credit checked out and get all your ducks in a row.
And that's good that you say it because I actually tell people that as well. I even tell them a year in advance isn't too soon to get with a loan officer. They can look at everything and kind of tell you if you do have some issues, how you can fix them.
Exactly. Another example of when it's really good to be prepared sooner rather than later, or as you said, maybe even a year in advance, is if someone wants to pay off some debts in order to qualify for more, it would be good for us to be able to take a look at the debts and figure out paying off which one would give the biggest bang for their buck. The other nice thing about that is that there's no cost for us to check someone's credit and advise them in preparation of a home purchase.
That's great. That's great. So it really falls in line with everything that I've been saying anyway.
Yep.
But to have a loan officer kind of back it up, it's great. So tell us, what are the benefits of the VA loan?
So there really isn't any loan out there that is as incredible as a VA loan in terms of the flexibility, the terms, and so on. The interest rates are significantly below market rates. For example, if someone were to go to get a conventional loan, their interest rate on a VA loan is probably around 1/4 to 0.5% lower than what it would be on a conventional loan. Another great benefit of it is that it's not as sensitive to credit score. You can still get a great rate on a VA loan even with a 640 score. I'm not going to give specific quotes today, but I would like to encourage people to call for a particular quote because interest rates do fluctuate, including sometimes significantly, even from week to week. Although people should feel free to call with their given credentials and we could figure out what their rate and terms would be. You can do as little as no money down on a VA loan. Most veterans choose to take advantage of this. The only additional expense with the VA loan is known as the funding fee. It's essentially the cost to originate a VA loan. You can roll that into your loan if you choose. It's typically 2.15% for most veterans. For reserves or National Guard, it's 3.3%. Or for your second use of a VA loan, it's 3.3% as well. Another great benefit is that if you do have a service-related disability, that funding fee may actually be zero.
Well, that's great. It sounds like, anyone who is eligible can really get in for really what you said, no money down, except the closing costs, obviously, and then maybe any minor fees that they need to pay during the process.
Exactly. Speaking of fees, there is no origination or processing fee. There's no realtor admin fee. The termite report is actually covered by the seller. The title fees are typically a little bit less as well. So the fees are lower on a VA loan than any other product out there.
Well, it sounds like someone who has eligibility really has a good product there that they can use.
Without a doubt, and not to mention the interest on the loan and the property taxes being tax deductible, when you take that into consideration as well as the low rates, it really does not make too much sense to be renting a home if you're going to be in the area for a few years or more, particularly if you have VA loan eligibility.
Well, that's great. And thank you so much. I know that, it really will depend on a person's entire credit situation to really determine if they're ready to purchase. And that's something that they would have to definitely get with you. But it gives us a good idea of where they can get started if they're eligible.
Yeah, without a doubt about it. And I have no problem speaking with people about their credit situations. Sometimes there's actually pretty quick fixes. For example, if the primary reason that a potential borrower's credit score is low is their high balances on credit cards, paying those down, we could potentially do what's called a rapid rescore and improve their credit in a matter of 3 business days. So a lot of times there is a quick credit fix. It's not necessarily a long-term process.
Yeah, and I don't think people realize that when they are trying to determine if they can buy a house, because they're going off what they think versus the actual facts. So I always encourage people to get with a loan officer because you are the expert in that field.
Well, thank you, Krista. I appreciate that. And I am available 7 days a week, pretty much every week, if somebody wants to reach out and begin discussing their situation.
Well, thank you so much for taking your time today and explaining everything. Can you tell us if someone wants to get in contact with you, what's the best way?
Absolutely. My cell phone is the best way to reach me. I actually live in DC, but I still have my old Pennsylvania number. It's 610-348-3772. And my email address is D as in David, T as in Tom, O-A, F as in Frank, F as in Frank, at firsthome.com, just all spelled out.
Okay, well, I'm actually going to put that in the notes for this episode as well. So that way, in case anyone missed it, they can click on the info in the description. So again, thank you again for joining me, and we'll be talking soon. This is the first of many segments we're going to have on financing.
Thanks, Krista. I look forward to it.
Thanks.